Hey guys, how's it going? I'm Nika and welcome to my booktube channel Prettily Bibliophile. If you are new, welcome, and if you have been here watching my videos for some time, then welcome back. Today's video is going to be all about the amazing books I read in June. Right now I'm doing this new format where instead of talking about all of the books that I read in that month, I instead talk about the books that I thought were amazing just so you can get the best of everything. And I'll continue doing that for this month as well. And without further ado, let's get started. So in the month of June, I ended up reading 21 books, which I think is a great number. And I am going to talk about some of the amazing books that I read. And without further ado, let me just tell you that the first book that I read in June was in fact a book that I really loved, and I ended up rating 5-star. So the book that I'm talking about is The Jasmine Throne by Tasha Suri, and I read it as a part of a book as a blog tour, and I'll link the reading blog up on this side or this side, I'm not sure, and you can definitely check it out because I really love this book. Now let me first tell you what this book is about. So we have a magical kingdom. It's adult fantasy, mind you. We have a kingdom which really reminds you of medieval India. So we have this princess whose name is Malini, and she is in exile. So she is kept as a sort of prisoner in this temple up on the hill, and it's a very dangerous road that you need to take to get there. So she's trapped in this temple, and she's trapped there. And on the other hand, we have this maid whose name is Priya, and she's one of those maids who are responsible to go up to the temple, clean the princess's chambers, and make food and all of that. The thing is that the princess did not listen to what her brother, who is the emperor, wanted her to do, which was to burn herself, and that is why he is punishing her. He is keeping her as a prisoner basically. And in this world, if you have any magic, you're dead. The king is going to come after you, the emperor is going to come after you. What happens is that one day the princess sees the maid do something with magic, and she's like, and they form an allyship. They become allies. And now we have these two amazing women who are both flawed in their own ways, who are both ambitious in their own ways. They join forces to basically make a better tomorrow. And it's really interesting. It's a lesbian fantasy, so we have an amazing romance between these two, obviously. And there are a ton of amazing characters, and really flawed ones, I must say. So these characters, you are like, okay, so they're not exactly the enemy, but I don't really love them either. So it's going to be very complicated, and your feelings for them, and I think in that it makes it really relatable. I also rated it 5 stars, and I really loved this book. Then the second book I picked up in June was also another 5-star read for me, and it is The Dangers of Smoking in Bed by Mariana Enriquez. And I think this one was also longlisted for the Women's Prize in Fiction, and I loved it. I read it and I rated it 5 stars. So this is a collection of stories which are very wacky, very weird, very gross, and very scary as well. They really make you understand and actually see the depravity of people. Some of them have a supernatural kind of thing, which makes it much more interesting, and I really liked it. I actually wrote a whole long book review on it, which also got published on Medium, so I'll make sure to link that down below so that you can check it out, because I think that this book is amazing, and now it is one of the best books that I've ever read in all time. And because of the nature of this book, which I really like, that is wacky short stories, I also picked up as my first read of July another collection of short stories which are just as wacky, which are just as weird, and I'm really loving that as well. Let me just give you a glimpse. So because I loved The Dangers of Smoking in Bed, I also decided to pick up a book which has similar themes, and this is Mouthful of Birds by Samantha Schweblin, which I'm reading currently in July, which is amazing. Right, so I would definitely recommend you to check out The Dangers of Smoking in Bed, because it's just out of this world, really stunning. The next few books were actually graphic novels that I read during this month, and I really loved them. I ended up reading all the 4 volumes of Hearthstopper, and I really loved them. I think these two guys were just so sweet, and the growth of their relationship is so wholesome. And the reason why these books are so famous is because of their wholesomeness, I would say. And you know, all of the popular hype that it gets, it really deserves all of it, because it's like I said, I have been saying the word wholesome for many times now, but this book series really deserves it. It mentions, you know, mental health, eating disorders, relationships, dealing with well, I would say dealing with homophobic societies and all of that. And I think it does it really well. The element of friendship is also really wonderful, and you really root for all of these characters. And I'm so glad that Alice Oseman has stories for all of these side characters as well. So you know, you really are eager, you get to see about their lives as well. Then the next book I read and loved in June was The Vanishing Half by Britt Bennett. Now I read it as a part of my book club pick for the month of June, and what this book is about, it basically deals with race and color and identity and acceptance, family as well, and it's done really well. Right, so what's this about? Let me first mention that alright, we have two sisters, Stella and Desiree, and they are both actually black women, and they, you know, live in this town called Malad, which unfortunately houses people who, although black themselves, are really racist, I would say. Because all of these black people, although black, they're actually fair, and still, you know, these people really look down on black people who are black. So there's a lot of colorism issue that is brought up here as well. And you know, I think that a person's identity formation is really affected when the community you are a part of is so fragmented, and I think it deals with it really well. It also deals with sisterhood and everything like that, including ambition and all of that. And we follow multiple generations, so it's really good. And we get to see the stories of so many amazing characters, and we also have a trans character who I actually really like. And overall the story is done really well. I think you should definitely check it out. It's also very heartbreaking and sad, and you know, it's very easy for you to like one sister and hate the other sister when you're reading the book in the beginning, but then the author flips the tables on you, because the author then, you know, gives you the story of the other sister, and now you get to see the reality, her experiences, and why she wanted to do what she did. So it's really interesting, and it really gives you a glimpse of the human inside us, and how our conflicting ideas and conflicting emotions can affect and influence our actions, and how that in turn can influence our relationships with each other. So it was done really well. I would definitely recommend you to read it. I had a lot of fun reading it as a part of the book club pick for this month. So yeah, definitely recommend. So the next two books that I read during this month were both fillers. I first picked up The 7 Deaths of Evelyn Hardcastle, or The 7.5 Deaths of Evelyn Hardcastle. They're both the same, which is sort of like a historical thriller, I think, but it also has very metaphysical elements. So basically what happens is that this character keeps on waking up as different people in a house, within a house, and he wakes up on the same day, right? He is reliving the same day again and again via the bodies of different characters, and he has to find out who is responsible for the murder of Evelyn Hardcastle. And it also has very supernatural / metaphysical elements to it, which I'm not going to reveal, because I think that is really central to the story, and it would just be kind of a spoiler at this point, so I'm not going to mention and go into much detail about it. But it's really interesting. And you know, the 7.5 Deaths of Evelyn Hardcastle, she keeps on dying every night. So unless you find out who did it, you'll have to you know, go back again to the beginning and start this whole process again. So it's really very interesting, and I really liked it. And the reason why I read that book was in preparation to read The Devil and the Dark Water, which is the second book by Stuart Turton, and I'm so very grateful to Bloomsbury's for sending me this copy. I really loved it. Now this one is also a mystery crime thriller, and this one takes place on a boat. It's kind of historical fiction, because let me just check the date. It's like 1634, so the 17th century, long time back, and it's really interesting. And like I said, since it takes place on a boat, all of these characters and their and whatever happens is basically on the stuck thing, so they're all trapped there, and nobody knows who is responsible for all of the problems that come up. I don't want to give any spoilers, but everybody fears that this is the devil who is there. So this one also has a tinge of supernatural element to it, but I would say that once you reach the end, you'll understand everything. Don't worry, it's really, really good, and I really enjoyed it. As you can see, there are a lot of dog marking that I did for the important pages which really struck me, and where I think the clues were hidden and all of that. I think this was done really well. The elements of friendship, a bit of sisterhood, of romance as well is done really well. And I think it also focuses a lot on colonization, right? So yeah, it's again very, very interesting. And the situation of women in society is also another thing that is talked to and explored here. And in that sense, I found it really sad that the situation of women hasn't really improved that much. I mean, it has improved a lot from what happens in this book, but still, you know, there's a long way to go for us women. So yeah, overall I really, really like this book, and I rated it 4 stars, and I think you should definitely check this one out, because these 2 books were really, really interesting, and I definitely recommend. The last book that I'm going to talk about in this whole section is Women and Monsters by Jess Zimmerman. Now, when I first came across this book, the synopsis, the cover, I was really intrigued, because it is, well, in itself, it's really amazing. So what's this about? So it's about, you know how in mythology women are often ostracized, they're often made into monsters because of their actions and everything. What led them to become that monster, that is never considered, and this is what, you know, Jess Zimmerman takes onto her hands. So like the subtitle suggests, it is a new mythology, because Jess Zimmerman takes on these famous characters from mythology, from Greek mythology, and spins a new idea about it. Just for example, let me talk about the first one who is mentioned, about Medusa. We all think of her as a monster whose hair is actually made of snakes, and anybody who looks at her becomes a stone. But we don't see how essentially, because of her beauty, she was taken into the temple of a goddess, and she was raped. But instead of punishing the god who raped her, this goddess actually punishes Medusa. And in that you can see how women are sometimes the obstacle in another woman's path, and how society, instead of punishing the culprit, actually punishes the woman for what has happened to her. So again, like I just said, a new mythology. This one is a must read, and it really helps you form your feminist ideals and views based on a mythology of an age-old mythology that we have heard about, and really brings into your focus how society has internalized all of this so much into us that we don't even question whys and hows of a woman is made into a monster. So I think this one was a really interesting book, and I really, really loved it, and I think you should definitely check it out. I listened to it as an audiobook and had a wonderful experience, so you can definitely check out the audiobook for this. And yeah, definitely recommend. So that's it, guys. Those were all the amazing books that I read in this in the month of June, and I had a lot of fun telling you all about them. I think you should definitely check out these books if you haven't already, because the point of the new format of my videos are that I talk about books that I really, really liked. So all of these books are ones that I really enjoyed, and definitely without even having a second thought, just go ahead and buy these books, or get a hold of these audiobooks, and you will really, really enjoy them, I think. So yeah, if you liked my videos, don't forget to hit the thumbs up icon down below so that you can like the video and support me, and also subscribe if you haven't already. I'll see you very, very soon. Take care, peace out, and thank you for watching. I hope you have a wonderful time, and bye.